I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love me a good mystery. The circumstances of how something happened, the suspense in solving the mystery and finding evidence with its possible twists and turns, and the curiosity of finding out why the culprit committed the crime will never get old with me, and you can probably tell with some of the other games I've covered where you get to do just that. Today we're going to look at another one of these games with Paper Perjury by Papercat Games. This game flew completely under my radar initially, and I was pleasantly surprised when I first heard of it. While there was a demo up so I could get a feel for the game, I have this tendency to be really bad at revisiting things later, and playing a demo only makes me more impatient for the finished product when it's done. For transparency, a copy of this game was provided to me courtesy of the developer. I will talk about later portions of the game and you will see footage out of context, but I will keep this review as spoiler free as I can. In Paper Perjury, you play the role of Justina Smith, a young woman starting her first day as a clerk for the Azure City Police Department. As she arrives at the precinct, she runs into Ernest Hunt, a detective in a hurry who kindly points in the direction of where she needs to go. After meeting with her supervisor, Sue Earle, the head and up to this point only clerk at the precinct, Justina is put to work right away with filing away a police report on a burglary. After going through the report, evidence and a recording of a witness statement, Justina notices that a part of the statement doesn't match up with the evidence, so she brings it to Sue's attention, suggesting that the witness be questioned further, just to be told that the witness has been attacked and left comatose. After finding out that Ernest is the lead detective of the case, Justina meets up with him and he suggests that she help him out with interrogating the thief. Little does everyone know that this simple contradiction that Justina had found will become something much bigger. The game is split into 5 cases and you'll play as Justina investigating cases, taking statements and presenting evidence as she works as an assistant to Detective Hunt and newly promoted Detective Sophie Swift. But is this game any good? Find out in The Good. I really like how this game feels similar to an Ace Attorney game but stands out in its own way. Unlike Ace Attorney, Aviary Attorney, and Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane, Justina never once sets foot into a courtroom. As a matter of fact, there are no courtroom battles in this game at all. During the investigation sections of the game, you'll be taking statements and finding evidence. Once you have the right piece of evidence, you can then review statements and present the evidence to point out contradictions. Once you have a likely suspect, you can take them to the station for questioning, where the traditional Ace Attorney cross-examination gameplay happens. Of course, most suspects won't talk without someone to defend them, and so you'll be crossing paths with Ferris Eubank, avid tea drinker, legal representative, and wife to Owen Eubank, the founder and CEO of Eubank Investments, a company which invests in land development. As you interrogate suspects, you may have to counter rebuttals presented by Ferris, which is a neat added feature. There are some legal and law elements brought up, such as two-party consent as an example, and I found that they were explained in a straightforward and easy manner, so I think the developers have either done their homework or have had a background in the legal system or in law. During the investigation phase, you'll often be investigating the surroundings, and the game does make some references to Ace Attorney and Ghost Trick and much more. I see you there, stepladder reference. I also appreciate the wordplay with some of the names, and it's clear to see lots of love and effort was put into this game. The developers are quick to address and fix issues with the game and were very approachable about it, which is a very big plus on their part. I really do like the story and the character development throughout the game. Unlike Ace Attorney, where the cases can be unrelated to one another, Paper Perjury takes an interesting approach of having all 5 cases be part of one big storyline. The build up over the story I think was handled really well, and I enjoyed seeing the characters voice their opinions, get emotional, and grow throughout the game. Some of the character sprites can be quite subtle when characters get emotional, and that little detail really helps makes it. I think it's quite refreshing having Justina start off on a robbery case and work her way up, unlike everyone else who gets thrown into the deep end with a murder case off the bat, and having to piece together what seems to be throwaway or inconsequential comments or thoughts in earlier cases just to find out it actually ties into something in later cases is pretty good. While Justina is good at investigating and interrogating, at the end of the day she is just a clerk, and there are even moments where emotions can get the best of her too. The same can be said with more experienced characters too, and to see their flaws and how the characters overcome their challenges and improve is a rewarding experience. The characters I feel were well written and worked brilliantly with the story. Of course, one of the other things that makes these games is their music, and Paper Perjury is no different. The combination of instruments and tempo really do set the scene with slower piano pieces for calmer moments, and additional instruments and the tempo being adjusted as you investigate and piece things together to discover the truth. The music complements the urban environment and it was an absolute treat to listen to. I'm a sucker for Reveal the Truth and Case Climax, so hats off to Dante Gofar and Foul Positive respectively for the game's soundtrack. However, the game isn't perfect, so let's look at what didn't work so well in the bad. As much as I love the game's story, I found the game to be a little on the shorter side, clocking in at just under 9 hours. If you're more switched on than me, you could probably finish it even quicker. Case 5 is the longest in the game, and when you get around to playing through it, you will know why. I had found during the interrogation sections that the game is also very forgiving if you present the wrong piece of evidence, which, while I argue makes the game more accessible to casual players, provides no real consequences to veterans, as there isn't really a way to get a game over as such. While you can question statements to get more context while interrogating, I found that I really needed to, which on one hand can take away the frustration of finding out when to do it in order to get a revised statement that you can then present evidence to, but once again, on the other hand, making the game easier. This is a pretty minor issue, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. While the game can be played using a keyboard, mouse or a controller, I found some of the controls can be a little confusing. I'm very used to pressing the B button on an Xbox controller to cancel out of a choice or to go back, just to find that the button replays the last thing a character said and pretty much acts as a rewind. While it's good if I missed out a bit of info, when going out of a choice such as whether to ask a character something, travel elsewhere or investigate the surroundings, it was a minor nuisance pressing B to try and go out to these main choices and just having the game repeat the last thing that was said. Personally, I think that function should be assigned to a different button or removed altogether, since you also have a log function which lets you look back on past conversations anyway. I don't have much else to complain about here, so let's wrap things up with the opinion. I quite enjoyed Paper Perjury. While inspired by the Ace Attorney series, I feel this game has done enough to stand out in its own right with its take on characters, story and gameplay. I enjoyed taking statements, finding evidence and then using it to uncover the culprit. I enjoyed seeing the characters of the game grow throughout the course of it. I enjoyed the game's music and its role in setting the scene and the mood. The only issues I have with the game are minor at best, with its length, difficulty and controller settings. Papercat Games have done an excellent job with developing this game over 3 years, and I am looking forward to seeing if they will consider doing additional cases as DLC or a sequel. If you enjoyed playing the Ace Attorney games, any of the other games inspired by it, or if you enjoy solving mysteries, then this is a game I would definitely recommend. So with that, it's time for the rating. I would give Paper Perjury Toasty the Cat out of 10. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next Infinite Backlog review. If you enjoyed today's review, feel free to check out some of our other videos and subscribe for more. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram and our Facebook page. Once again, thank you for watching.